Good morning, Rabotai. Welcome to Breakfast in the Class. Breakfast in the Class today is dedicated loving memory to Nishmat Monier, Miriam Bat Senor Moshe, Alea Shalom, sponsored by the Nurani family. The week of Breakfast in the Class sponsored by Stephen Galapo, dedicated for speeding a beautiful Refuah for his dear friend Rafael Yaish Ben Hanavi Yosef, Refuah Shlema for Eliyahu Shimon, Mazal Fortuné, Hana Bat Fega, Yitzhak Ben Sarah, and of course, Breakfast in the Class dedicated today in loving memory of Rabbi Raymond Harari Alava Shalom. Lilu Nishma Rachavim Ben Shoshana. Hashem should take him to the highest levels of Olam Haba, where he's sure to walk with our forefathers. He guided us through easy and tough times and made such an impact on our lives. We loved him very much and will miss him incredibly. We're sure he's in Olam Haba watching out for us. Sponsored by Lori and Brian Tuberman. What a special dedication. That's very special and true. Also dedicated in loving memory of Tamar Megidish Alea Shalom. Lilu Nishma Tamar Ayelet Bat Chuta. Tamar Megidish passed away this week. She was a long time attender in the Bet Knesset. Loved the classes. Loved to pray. She unfortunately was not well for quite some time, Tamar. And we've been praying for all this time. And she passed away this past week. Hashem Ruach Adonai Tenichena Began Eden. Also, please make berachot Lilu Nishmata. Also, the learning for this entire week, the year of Breakfast in the Class dedicated loving memory to Nishmat Ruth Orfali Bat Adela, sponsored by her family. And the learning for this entire week is dedicated by the Daniel S. Loeb Torah Center Gold Donors, the Ash brothers, Isaac and David Ash. Embrace Torah knowledge, learn with passion, do with purpose, give with generosity. What a beautiful dedication from Isaac and David. Hazaku Baruch. My friends, we have an unbelievable opportunity today. We have some fantastic young boys that came to our Bet Knesset, and they came to one. They got an aliyah. One of the boys made Birkat Gomel. One of the boys, Tomer, is a Nova Festival survivor, and one of the boys, Ron, was actually just in Amsterdam now during the crazy attack on the football supporters in Amsterdam. So disturbing to see that right around the calendar date of Kristallnacht, once again they were hunting Jews in the streets, and I can only imagine what it was like to experience that, not just as a Jewish person or an Israeli at a football match in some foreign country, but after seeing everything that had gone on in Israel, you could only imagine what they thought was happening to them in Amsterdam and where they thought that was going. And the beatings that they took, they put, I think it was 10 people in the hospital. The beatings that they took, it's true, unfortunately sat them in the hospital, but I'm sure the psychological trauma of such an event is far more than any of us could actually begin to imagine. So we have an opportunity to hear from either of them. Would like to come and share with us. Faddal, come. Baruch, please only answer amen if you're listening to this live. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'akol niya baro. בוא, קח כיסא. Of course, our pleasure. בוא, נביא כיסא. בסדר, אני אתרגם. Okay? Come. Oh, fantastic. You got one more seat over here. מי ומי ההולכים? מי ידבר ראשון? יאללה. שים את הטוב.
Good morning, everyone. Enjoy the food, b'tavon. I just want to say like short few words. I came here on April with the Nova exhibit. I was very involved in having it here, and when the amazing American group came to Israel to make it, I took him to the exhibit in Israel, and now it's in Los Angeles and it's moving to Miami, and more people are listening to the stories of October 7 and specifically at Nova. And when I came here, I was so confused in the middle of my, I will say, kind of like healing process, trying to organize my life again. It was very tough. And, we're a few months after that, after April, that I came here. And I think it was on Wednesday, the game, Thursday. The game was on Thursday. I went to speak for a group of young professional people in Tribeca to share my story. And a few minutes before that, I'm looking at my phone and I'm seeing the messages that Ron is sending us in the WhatsApp group, our friends' WhatsApp group. And he's saying like, listen, it's crazy what's going on here. I'm literally hiding in a bathroom right now. They're trying to lynch us. They lynch people. I saw people falling on the ground. I saw crazy things. And it triggered me so hard to October 7th, to the things that I sent to my friend in that day. And before that, we were planning that Ron will come to visit me and will stay with me. And when he came, when he's here right now, I'm kind of like, I'm seeing myself, I'm seeing my situation, and when I came here, one of the places that an amazing guy took me to was the Safra synagogue. I was here for a few Shabbats, and I'm still coming. I'm studying here right now, so it's amazing to come here. Saturday, I was here this Saturday actually, and I was thinking to myself, where will be the most special place to do Gomel with Ron, and we came to Safra, and I'm very happy that we're doing it. I hope that this thing will be an opportunity in his life. Like I found in my tragedy a lot of beautiful things, and I want them to share and speak and tell what happened to him.
Beautiful. Hazak Baruch. Beautiful. Amen. תרגיש חופשי, okay? There you go.
אוקיי, בוקר טוב. אני מדבר בעברית, האנגלית שלי לא... וואו.
I'll translate.
Okay.
Even though your English is impeccable. I'm really impressed. Only since April? How many movies are you watching? What's going on? Your English is amazing.
טוב, אז בגדול היינו באמסטרדם 4 ימים. כבר מהרגע שהגענו, מיומיים לפני, צבענו את כל הרחובות בדגלי ישראל, והיינו בכיכר דם המפורסמת באמסטרדם, כולם עם שירים של הקבוצה, ואהבה נגילה, וכאילו כנראה שכבר מאז זה מאוד הפריע למוסלמים שם.
So let me translate so far. They went to Amsterdam a couple days, 4 days before the match, and already from 4 days before, they were on the streets of Amsterdam, holding up all the flags, singing all the songs. Some of you may have seen the video, singing Hava Nagila, the songs of the team on the streets, and obviously that must have already riled up the hatred of the anti-Jewish Muslim population over there, and got them a little bit angry enough to be able to do what was going to come next.
כל הזמן הרגשנו ככה שהם מאוד מחכים לנו, מאוד רוצים שיהיה את החיכוך. אם אתה אפילו קונה איזה משהו במקום, ברוב המקומות המוכרים הם מוסלמים, הנהגי מונית כולם מוסלמים, ככה שהם כל הזמן מדווחים איפה היהודים נמצאים. זה ככה מה שהיה לפני המשחק. אחרי זה, ביום של המשחק, היה צעדה מאוד גדולה. הרבה יהודים מאמסטרדם גם הגיעו, הרבה אוהדים של אייקס אמסטרדם. הם מאוד תומכים במכבי תל אביב ובכללי ביהדות. יש להם אפילו שירים, אייקס יודן, סופר יודן, ככה הם מאוד אוהבים אותנו. הם הרבה הגיעו גם לצעדה, עשינו צעדה גדולה בכל רחובות אמסטרדם. היינו במשחק, הפסדנו. אחרי זה חזרנו עם הרכבת. אני הייתי ברכבת הראשונה. וזה נקרא כיכר דם.
So at the game, there was the fans of Amsterdam. A lot of the fans of Amsterdam are also fans of the Israel football team. They came to support and to watch. So when they got there was a lot of singing together. They have there's nicknames, Super Yuden, I think they call them, right? So
they're singing Ajax Yuden, Super Yuden.
They're singing songs about them. So the excitement in the air was unbelievable. A huge amount of the Jews of Amsterdam also turned up to be part of this of the match. But already before the match, in the build-up, you could feel in the streets, he said, that they were waiting. They were waiting for you, for something to kick off. When you went to buy a soda in a store, you could feel in the stores that were owners that were Muslim in the stores, the drivers, that they were constantly kind of like keeping tabs, talking about the Jewish crowds in the area. You could feel already something was up before the match. They went to the match and they unfortunately lost the match on the day. Yimaleh Hashem Chesronchem, inshallah. And after the match was over, they took the train to Kikar Dam, which is a famous square in Amsterdam.
אז בעצם בכיכר נמצאים זה שדרה רחבה כזאת, שבסופה הכיכר, ובשדרה נמצאים כל הבתי מלון של הישראלים. יצאנו מהרכבת, אני הייתי ברכבת הראשונה, הייתי משהו כמו 40 ישראלים. ואנחנו יוצאים, אנחנו רואים מישהו על הרצפה, אדם מבוגר על הרצפה, וארבעה מוסלמים מכים אותו, רעולי פנים. אחר כך לא ידענו כל כך מה לעשות, אם להמשיך להתקדם או לא. הוא ניגש אלינו, נפתח לו פה הראש. ואז אחרי זה החלטנו שנלך כולם כקבוצה, לא נתפצל. וככה נלך כגוש אחד, כגוף אחד, וכל אחד ירד במלון שלו. התחלנו ללכת, ומהר מאוד התחילו לצאת, זה רחוב מאוד רחב, שבצדדים שלו יש סמטאות. מהר מאוד התחילו לצאת כמויות של מוסלמים מהסמטאות, ולזרוק כמו פצמרים כאלה מאוד חזקים, משהו כאילו שיכול להוריד רגל ברמה הזאת. התחילו לזרוק את זה מכל כיוון, להגיע מאחורה, מקדימה. מאוד מהר התפצלנו והתחלנו לרוץ לכיוון הכיכר, כולנו רצנו לכיוון הכיכר, כשבהמשך עומדים 5 רעולי פנים שכל מי שעובר תוקפים אותו. אנשים התרסקו שם לרצפה, התחילו להגיע כמויות, הם היו כפול 3 מאיתנו לפחות. אנשים היו על הרצפה, קיבלו מכות, בעטו בהם, ממש לינץ' לכל דבר. אני הצלחתי לברוח, כאילו הייתי כבר על הרצפה, נפלתי וקמתי, הצלחתי לברוח. רצתי הכי מהר שאני יכול, לא הייתי לבוש בצהוב, ככה שלא יכלו לזהות אותי. רצתי ונכנסתי למסעדה והתחבאתי בשירותים של המסעדה.
So he was on the front train with about 40 other Jews when they finally arrived in the square. And the street that leads off of there is a very wide street. And as soon as they walked off the train, they saw an older man on the floor surrounded by 4 Muslim guys that were beating him up. He came towards the group and his head was split open from the beating that they had given him on the floor. As they saw what was happening, they decided as a group that they're not going to split up or splinter off. They're all going to stay together, the whole group of 40 of them, and they'll walk together to all the hotels and drop people off as they go. That way they'll be protected. But as they're walking down this super wide road towards where their hotels were, off of the main road, there's lots of different alleyways and streets, small streets that kind of empty into this main thoroughfare. And at every little simta, at every little street and little nook and cranny, there were more people that were coming out. Until finally, they were overwhelmed them at least 3 to 1. And the whole time when they're walking, they're throwing at them these firecrackers, but not just ones that make noise, something like he's describing that I would call like an M80, where if it exploded by you, he said, it would take off your foot. So it's like a mini explosive. And they were throwing them directly at the people. And of course, as that happened, everyone was running to avoid these firecrackers. The group started to splinter off, and more Muslims came out to overwhelm the ones that split off and would beat them and kick them and lynch them on the ground. He fell himself personally. Ron fell on the ground, but managed to get up and started running as fast as he could. He wasn't wearing yellow, the team colors at the time, so it was harder to identify him. He ran into a restaurant and he was hiding in the restaurant in the bathroom.
כן. אז בשירותים במסעדה היה עוד 2 ישראלים שהיו איתי. היינו שם משהו כמו שעתיים. ושתי ישראלים מבוגרים, ואחרי שעתיים לא ידענו מה לעשות וזה, החלטנו לצאת החוצה, כי ראינו שכבר יש הרבה מאוד משטרה בחוץ, ושאספו את כל הישראלים בכיכר ומשטרה מקיפה אותם. אז אחרי שעתיים יצאנו החוצה, ביקשנו מהשוטרים, כי המלון שלי היה מאוד קרוב, היה 3 דקות משם, הם הציעו לי לבוא לישון אצלם, אמרתי להם שאולי אני כבר אצליח להגיע למלון, ואני אבקש מאחד השוטרים שילווה אותי למלון. אז יצאנו החוצה, נפרדתי מהם אחרי שעתיים שהייתי איתם. אחרי זה בדיעבד, אתמול ראיתי שהם התראיינו בישראל, אני לא ראיתי אותם אחרי זה, ומספרים שהם החליטו ללכת למלון עם עוד 2 בנות ישראליות צעירות ללוות אותם, ותקפו אותם 10 מוסלמים. אחד איבד את ההכרה והשני פתח את הראש. רק אתמול ראיתי את זה.
He was hiding in the bathroom with 2 other older Israelis, and they were there for about 2 hours, and they didn't know what to do. After about 2 hours, they looked outside and they saw that there was a group of police officers, and they had gathered all the Israelis in one area, and they were surrounded. The police officers were surrounding this group of Israelis to try and protect them in the square outside the restaurant. Well, he was staying in a hotel that was right nearby, and the other 2 said, "Why don't you come and stay with us?" But he decided in the end to ask one of the police officers to take him because his hotel was so close. He said, "Just please take me to the hotel," and that's where he left those 2 older gentlemen. Those 2, afterwards, he saw had been interviewed on the television in Israel, and he saw the interview. He hadn't spoken to them since. They wound up getting 2 other Israeli girls and asking to be taken to their hotel. And on the way back to their hotel, they were attacked by 10 more Muslim extremists on the way back, terrorists even. And on the way back, one of them was beaten to the point where he was beaten unconscious, and the other one had his head split open.
אז הגעתי לשוטר, ביקשתי ממנו אם הוא יכול לעזור לי ללוות אותי. הוא אמר לי שהרחוב שלי עכשיו אין שם אף אחד, הייתה שם רק שוטרת אחת. הוא אמר, אתה יכול להגיע עכשיו בקלות, אין לך מה לפחד, תתחיל ללכת. אז חזרתי לרחוב הראשי, התחלתי ללכת לכיוון המלון שלי. התלבטתי מאוד אם ללכת לישראלים כולם, או שנייה להגיע למלון ולסיים את זה. אמרתי, יאללה, בוא נגיע למלון. אפילו אם אני אגיע מהר, אני אוכל להגיע לשוטרת שהיא ממש מתחת למלון שלי. אני מתחיל ללכת קצת, ושוב פעם מתחילה תנועה של ריצה לכיווני, של 3 רעולי פנים. אני מגיע לשוטרת, היא חשבה שאני מוסלמי בעצמי, או שלא יודע, כי הייתי לבוש בשחור. היא נתנה לי מכה ביד עם העלה, עלה וכזה. נתנה לי מכה במרפק. ואז אמרתי לה שאני ישראלי, היא אמרה לי, I'm sorry, והיא הלכה לכיוון המוסלמים שהיו שם, והרחיקה אותם. אני נשארתי על הרצפה. בזמן שאני על הרצפה מחזיק את היד שלי, 2 הולנדיות עוברות, ומצלמות אותי וצוחקות, ואומרות לי, זה מה שמגיע לך, כי אתה עושה ג'נוסייד, וזה מה שמגיע לך ולמדינה שלך. אחרי זה החזקתי את היד, וישר חזרתי לכיכר, להיות עם כל הישראלים שם בהגנה הזאת שעשו לנו.
So the police officer told him when he went he said, "Would you take? I decided to go back to my hotel." So the police officer said, "There's nothing going on your street. You're very close. You could just go. You have nothing to worry about. There's one police officer, a woman who's there in front of your hotel. You can just go and you'll be able to kind of get into your hotel over there." So he quickly went back to his hotel to see this with this girl on the side. And on the way, he started seeing 3 more people that they're wearing masks running towards him. So he ran quickly to get to the policewoman first. But since he was wearing all black, she thought that he was Muslim and not Israeli. So she took out her club and she whacked him on the arm and she hit him by the elbow. So he's trying to explain to her that he's Israeli. She says, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and he's lying on the ground holding his elbow. She ran off towards those other 3 guys that were coming to make sure that they didn't come closer towards the hotel. At that point, 2 girls from Holland, 2 random girls, walked past taking pictures of him on the floor holding his arm, laughing, saying, "This is what you deserve, you and your country, for the genocide that you're doing." At that point, he got up and decided to go back to the group where all the Israelis were. At least he'd be with other people that he knew and was comfortable with.
אחרי זה שחזרתי לאיפה שנמצאים כל הישראלים, היינו שם הרבה שעות, כל פעם ניסו לחשוב על איזה רעיון שאולי נתחיל להגיע למלונות שלא שלנו, פשוט שכל איזה קבוצה של 5 תארח אנשים במלון ביחד או להתחלק למלונות. המשטרה ניסתה להביא אותנו למלון שלנו כמה פעמים. אני ישנתי במלון לבד, כאילו בחדר לבד, אז אמרתי לו עוד 3 ישראלים לבוא לישון אצלי, כי היה לי מקום, ונכנסנו לניידת, היא ניסתה לקחת אותנו למלון, ושוב פעם הגענו לכניסה של המלון, ומחכים 4 רעולי פנים בכניסה של המלון, רואים שהמשטרה הולכת להוריד אותנו, והשוטר אומר לנו, תרדו עכשיו, כאילו זהו, אנחנו אומרים לו, כאילו אם אנחנו יוצאים עכשיו, יתקפו אותנו. והוא צועק לנו לרדת, ואז הם זרקו אבנים על הניידת, וזרקו את החזיז הזה, שמתפוצץ. אחרי שהדבר הזה התפוצץ, הוא חזר בחזרה לכיכר. ככה בעצם היה הרבה פעמים בלילה, ניסו להביא אנשים למלונות שלהם, לא הצליחו, ובסוף החליטו להכניס את כל הישראלים ל2 אוטובוסים מאוד גדולים, ולהקיף אותם במשטרה.
So when he was back with the group, so they were sitting there in the square for many hours together. And as they're sitting there together, however often, they tried to come up with some solution to actually leave, to go to a hotel, to stay in some space, whatever the case might be. And finally, after many hours, he was at a hotel room for himself, so he said, you can come stay by me. People were going to try and be together, 4 or 5 people together in a hotel room. So finally, a police officer came with a car and took four guys together, 4 Israeli people together back to his hotel room. But as they pulled up in front of the hotel, again, there was 4 people there waiting with masks by the entrance to the hotel. The police officer says, "Get off here." They said, "If we get off, they're going to beat us." The guy's screaming, "Get out of the car." But they were arguing with the police officer. It doesn't make sense. They're all here. What was the whole point? Anyway, at that point, they started throwing rocks at the police car and M80s as well. And when they threw the explosive, the firecracker, that's when the cop turned around and went back to the square where they were. So they've been sitting there for many hours with nowhere to go, with no exit place, no place to get shelter. Until finally they put all the Israelis on 2 big buses and they surrounded it with cops.
אז ככה אנחנו נוסעים ברחובות אמסטרדם משהו כמו 3 שעות באוטובוסים האלה, צמודים אחד לשני, עם משטרה מסביב, וממש כל אמסטרדם נוסעת אחרי האוטובוסים האלה, נהגי מונית מוסלמים, וכולם צועקים פרי פלסטיין, וזורקים אבנים, ואנחנו שומעים פיצוצים, וככה 3 שעות, כל אמסטרדם אחרי האופנועים נצמדים לאוטובוס ודופקים על החלונות. בעצם אחרי 3 שעות שאנחנו באוטובוס הזה כבר לא יודעים כל כך מה לעשות, גם המשטרה לא יודעת מה לעשות איתנו, הם אומרים לנו, תקשיבו, אנחנו מתחילים להוריד אתכם בכניסה למלונות, וזהו, תסתדרו, והתחילו לרדת קבוצות גדולות, אני ממש לא ידעתי מה לעשות. עד הרגע האחרון נשארתי באוטובוס, עד שבאמת נשארנו רק איזה 10 אנשים. לבסוף החלטנו שאין מה לעשות, פשוט נצא כולם ביחד, נעזר במה שאפשר. הוצאנו את החגורות שלנו מהמכנסיים, שנוכל להגן על עצמנו עם זה לפחות. התחלנו ללכת קבוצה של 10 אנשים, חבר אחד שאני מכיר, כאילו, מלפני, מהארץ, הוא אומר לי שהוא לא יודע איפה חבר שלו, הוא גם לא מצא אותו עד יום למחרת, אחרי זה התברר שהוא היה עצור וזה. אז הוא אמר לי, בוא תישן אצלי במלון, אני לא יודע איפה חבר שלי. זה הלכנו קבוצה של 10, עד שכל אחד ירד במלון שלו. זה היה משהו כמו 5 בבוקר, וב7 בבוקר קיבלנו הודעות שאנשים מבית חב"ד ומהשגרירות מקפיצים ישראלים לשדה, ומשם יש טיסות חילוץ של אל-על, טיסה לניו יורק.
So they're all on the bus, and as the buses are driving, so the buses are driving away, but as the buses are driving away, all the Uber cabs with the Muslim drivers are following the buses. And people on motorcycles are following the buses and motorbikes. beating on the walls of the bus, throwing rocks, throwing explosives, screaming "Free Palestine," all that stuff going on. And the police had no idea what to do. They had no idea what to do. There's no plan. They're just driving around in these buses, and they're surrounded by people driving with them wherever they go. Until eventually, at around 5 o'clock in the morning, the police said, "We don't know what to do. We don't have any other answers. So we're going to drop you off at your hotels, and you guys have to figure out what to do." I mean, just mind-blowing to hear this. But so then they decided to get off, and Ron was thinking to himself, "This is crazy. Let me stay on the bus as long as possible." So they stayed on the buses as they dropped off until finally there's only about 10 people left on the bus. And one of Ron's friends that he actually knew from Israel said, "Why don't you come to me? I had a friend here that was here with me yesterday. I haven't heard from him. I haven't been able to get in contact with him." And then only later they found out that he was arrested or taken away. So they knew they didn't, but they didn't know that until the next day. So he said, "Come and stay with us." As they're getting off the bus, all the guys took off their belts, their leather belts, so that they would at least have something to swing if they were attacked when they got off the bus. 10 of them got off the bus at by now it's around almost 7 o'clock in the morning, and now they're hearing that in the Bet Chabad, the Shagrirut, the embassy is arranging for protective custody to take people to the airports, where El Al is going to have 2 flights to take the Israelis home.
כן, אז בבוקר בעצם ב7 בבוקר, יש לנו אולי שעתיים, ב7 בבוקר מאוד פחדנו לחזור למלונות שלנו, אבל בסוף עשינו את זה, הבאנו את המזוודות, ובעצם כן לקחו אותנו לשדה, היה טיסות של אל על, טיסות חילוץ, בחינם, אז כולם חזרו לארץ, לי היה טיסה לפה מלכתחילה, וזהו בעצם.
So they finally got to the airport, and El Al had these flights on that the government had paid for and made sure that were available for everyone to leave. He was supposed to actually come from there to here, but everyone else, people took those flights and finally went back home, and that's how the nightmare ended. First of all, we want to say we're happy that you were able to do Birkat HaGomel with us to make a bracha, that everything is okay. We're happy to have you here. Your name is Ron. Ron means joy, right? Yeah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless you with a life filled with joy. You should never ever know from such a craziness ever again. And what they experienced in Amsterdam is something which is the changing reality around the world until world leaders stand up and make sure that that's not acceptable. And that the people who want to behave that way, who are immigrants to those countries. First of all, we want to say we're happy that you were able to do Birkat HaGomel with us to make a bracha, that everything is okay. We're happy to have you here. Your name is Ron. Ron means joy, right? Yeah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless you with a life filled with joy. You should never ever know from such a craziness ever again. And what they experienced in Amsterdam is something which is the changing reality around the world until world leaders stand up and make sure that that's not acceptable. And that the people who want to behave that way, who are immigrants to those countries, have to understand that in countries that have the rule of law, that behavior is not tolerated. Israel today put out a statement that they are deeply disappointed with the paucity of arrests that have taken place. You're talking about throngs of people, and they've arrested a very, very few people in Amsterdam. If people don't see that the laws of the country are upheld, that anyone that does or acts in this way is arrested, thrown in prison, until eventually they're deported, they will not understand that the laws where you come from in the Wild West don't apply in civilized countries. So of course we call on every civilized country to make it clear to the people that have chosen to come to those countries that the laws of the countries that they came from are not relevant in their new homes. And Sharia law is not law in Amsterdam. And Sharia law is not law in England or in France. And until the governments understand and stand up for those principles and make sure that they do not mix up the conversation of free speech with violent anti-Jewish rage, then this will take place in country after country after country. Well, we are happy that you're here to be able to tell us a story and to let us know what happens when countries are not aware that this is bubbling right beneath the surface. So when you want to know why you should shut down angry marches like this, now you know. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us. Hazak Baruch Ran. Hazak Baruch Tomer. Thank you so much. You're in our hug now. You're here for breakfast and the class. Hazak Baruch. Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. So my friends, that is about the length of our class. And Rabbi Ibrahimov is here waiting in the wings. So I also don't know what to do right now. There's an uncharted territory. But maybe we'll do a little bit of a shorter class, because I believe that we've learned a tremendous amount from our brothers, from Tomer and from Ron. Hazaku Baruch. I know it's not easy, and we want to thank you for the lessons that you've taught us. So my friends, I just want to share with you an idea that I found to be incredibly powerful. One question with a very beautiful answer. The question is as follows. Avraham Avinu's most famous mitzvah was which mitzvah? Hachnasat orchim, welcoming in guests. I'm very proud of our Bet Knesset that's how we are. We welcome in guests. And like Tomer said, you know, when you want to think about where you want to go to do Gomel, he thought of this place because it's very welcoming. I think we try and make everyone, no matter who they are, no matter where they're from, feel comfortable in our Beit Knesset, Baruch Hashem. But my friends, Avraham Avinu's mitzvah was Achnasat Orchim. And the Torah wants to show us his mitzvah, Achnasat Orchim. Ask the commentators a fascinating question. So if you want to show us Avraham's Achnasat Orchim, you probably had countless examples. I mean, there was probably the story that Avram could tell you about the time that they hosted the ambassador from Aram Naharaim. There was probably the time when Avram or Sarah they could tell us about how they hosted, you know, the pagan leaders of what's it called? Of Shinar. Or about the time that they had the refugees from the Great War of the 4 and 5 Kings eat by them for 3 weeks straight. I'm sure they had many stories. The story that the Torah tells us about Abraham's Achnasat Orchim, you know what that story is? I love you. The story is about how Abraham served 3 malachim. The malachim that Abraham served, the angels he served, what did they eat from his meal? Nothing. What did they drink from the drinks that he prepared for them? Nothing. How much enjoyment did they have from his tree, shade? Nothing. They're angels. So why would the Torah choose as the example of Achnasat Orchim the one time that Abraham actually did nothing for his Orchim, for his guests? That's a bomb question. So a lot of commentators deal with this question, but I'd like to share an answer that I feel really impacted me. And that answer is as follows. You know which Hachnasat Orchim we're going to share with you? The Hachnasat Orchim where the Orchim got nothing. You know, imagine you bring someone to your house. You know, a guy who's suffered, and he comes to your house and he has a meal, he hasn't eaten in 3 days, and everything he's eating, he's telling your wife, wow, this is the best meat I ever had. This chicken is fantastic. This rice, yeah, Annie, unbelievable. This, I love, wow, your scotch collection, your wine collection. Rabbi, fantastic. You don't know, you brought me back to life. You finished the meal, the guy can't thank you enough. He sends you 4 cards. Unbelievable. How do you feel after that? You Hachnasat Orchim dim. But who got more out of the exchange? You did. Imagine you invite someone to your house, sit them down, you say, I'm so excited. Cold day outside, have my wife's famous chicken soup. The guy says, thank you very much. I'm vegetarian. Here we go. It's okay, yeah, so fine, no problem. here, this is my wife's challah, it's famous. The Chana's challah is just, top shelf, unbelievable. It's a good thing she doesn't sell it because she would put everyone out of business. Okay? I cut him a nice piece of challah. He says, I see the top over here looks like it was brushed with it's shiny. Did you use eggs in? Yeah, I'm vegan. I can't have that either. No challah. Okay. All right, no problem. Here, have a l'chaim. Oh, I'm teetotal. I don't drink anything. Anti-alcohol. Okay, can't have a drink. Can't have what's it called? Can't have chicken soup. Can't have this, no problem. Why don't you have, here, I have this cake. There's no eggs in it. Okay, it's a cake. I'm gluten-free. Here, could I give you a grape? Here's a grape. Is it free-range organic? Is it, I'm very anti-pesticides. Imagine you have a guy like this. Finally, you found him something. You found him the one thing in the universe he could eat. Here, have this. The guy says, thank you, I ate earlier. You can't wait to get rid of the guy. Because everything you tried, nothing was good enough. Nothing was right. Nothing. How many times does our desire for chesed come from the fact that we want to help, but we also want to feel good about helping somebody? You ever have a guy where the guy comes in front of you and he says, can I have collecting for this? And you're feeling generous that day, even though there's 14 other guys in the shul collecting money. So you pull out a $10 bill. And he says to you, really? Only $10? I'm looking at your watch. You have such a nice watch. I feel like someone like you could give more money. Those shoes, gorgeous, right? I feel like someone like you could give me 500. Come on. Do it for the mitzvah. Our rabbis tell us that when you give tzedakah, it's supposed to hurt a little. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Hadda's giving you musar. I don't know about you. You know how I feel? I take the $10 bill back. I say, thank you very much. Have a nice day. That's how I don't know. You? No? You go up to the Torah, you give $18 because, it's not been a good month. And the guy doing the Mishnah Berach says $18. Come on. Do 101. Donate a plaque for the Torah Center. What do you tell the guy? Give me back my $18. I'll give you matanat yado. For those that are listening audio, I just lifted my hand above my head as if to strike someone. My friends, that's what I would be like. You don't want my chesed? Here, take it back. The Torah, in teaching us Avraham Zachnasar Orchim, who does it describe? 3 people that didn't actually take anything from Avraham. And Avraham ran and he sweated and he did all of that. And what was it for? For nothing. You ever invite a guest over and then the guest doesn't show? Does anything make you more upset? Meanwhile, what are we learning from Avraham? You wanted to do the chesed. You're getting angry that the person who needed the chesed in the end didn't need the chesed. In the end was so exhausted that he'd rather actually sleep. You're getting angry at them for that? You're upset at them for that? Thank God, he's resting in his hotel. Thank God, the guys enjoy it. We learn from Avraham that the greatest act of chesed is when the person doesn't even use your chesed. When the chesed doesn't feel comfortable. And you don't get the accolades. That was delicious meat. Because he's an angel and he don't eat meat. He don't eat anything. My friends, the Torah is so beautiful. When you look beneath the surface, the lessons you learn are so special. And they communicate with us on such a high level and in such a real level that we can't help but be changed by the mitzvot of the Torah. My friends, I want to end by saying one thing. When Abraham runs, and Abraham jumps, and Abraham does, I was always bothered by a question. On the one hand, we find that Abraham is sitting there and he's in pain. It's 3 days after his Brit Milah at the age of 99. Lo alenu. Imagine having a Brit Milah at 99 years old. At 99 years old, you get a cut, it doesn't heal for 6 weeks. How does 99 is getting a Brit Milah? But the minute the chance to be able to do something, all the excuses that Avraham Avinu had went out the window. And he's running. My friends, when you love something, you can't help yourself. You ever meet a guy who really shouldn't have sugar, but all of a sudden they bring out the little the plate with the little candies, and what do they say? Oh, just one. I really shouldn't. You see someone sitting there at the table, all they're eating is lettuce because they're having some sort of diet situation. All of a sudden you bring out the challah, you bring out something, oh, I really shouldn't. Just a little. When you love something, nothing else matters. Abraham is in pain, but when he sees a chance to be able to help another Jew, he leaps at the opportunity. When you love chesed that much, even if the chesed doesn't give you very much, it doesn't deter you. So the next time you're thinking to yourself, should I give this guy? I don't know, he keeps coming around. You think to yourself, it doesn't help for me to give him. The guy just keeps coming around. He doesn't get a job. He doesn't do anything. Remember the angels. When you're giving to someone who's not grateful, remember the angels. When you're thinking to yourself, what difference will it make if I sit here and talk to this guy? By the way, I don't know if there's anything that annoys men more than when someone asks for your advice and then doesn't follow it. Why are you going to ask me? Just going to do whatever you want anyway. My friends, remember the angels. Hashem should bless us, Be'ezat Hashem, that even when our guests keep us guessing, what is the point? We love tzedakah v'chesed so much that it doesn't matter. And we're willing to do it because we know it's the right thing. And their reaction is not our purpose. It's a nice side benefit when it's there, but it's not why we do what we do. Baruch Hanei Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasham